Love and peace. Today we'll be going over the Moorish Maxims and Fables collected by Frida Kirby Green, 1906, from the manuscript Temple Bar. Enjoy. In the Milky Way are two small stars very slightly apart. These, when thou art traveling alone in the wilds, watch. As long as thou art in the right way, they keep apart. But should they turn aside or into danger, or into temptation, then they will join together. The Milky Way. Ah, Allah, praise the cat. Send blindness to my Lord so that I may help myself to food. Allah, praise the dog. Send my Lord a sufficiency so that being filled, he may give me also to eat. If, O woman, thou findest that thy neighbor's cow gives more abundant and richer milk than do thine, do this, take a hoopoe, pluck and roast it. Then with the skin thereof, while still hot, rub thoroughly the inside of the pot into which thou milkest. If this be done properly, all the cream that should rise on the milk of thy neighbor's cow will rise on that of thine, leaving theirs like water. Once the Jekyll and the Hedgehog went into partnership, and they sowed their land with wheat. Then said the Jackal, which part of the harvest wilt thou take, O partner? The upper or the lower? And the Hedgehog, being smaller, chose the part nearest his eyes, and said the lower. Then when the corn was cut and thrashed, the Jackal took the grain and left the straw for the Hedgehog, saying, Behold thy choice, brother. Then when the Hedgehog exceedingly wroth, and he used evil words, so that the Jackal, getting angered also, hit him with such a shrewd blow on the head with the hood measure they had been using, that the mark is visible to this day. Then said the Hedgehog to himself, I will be more clever next time. The following year the Jekyll again said to his partner, Choose, wilt thou have the upper or the lower part of the harvest? And the Hedgehog answered hastily, The upper. Now behold, that year the crop was of onions, and the Hedgehog was still more wroth, and dissolved partnership. However, they yet went out hunting together. One day the two entered a watermelon patch by a small hole in the hedge, and had a fine time eating there, and then running about destroying the fruit by biting a piece out here and there. Of a sudden they heard the owner of the field coming, and the Hedgehog slipped out of the hole. But the Jackal, when he tried to do so, found that he had eaten so much that he could not squeeze through. Then said the Hedgehog, trotting away on his little feet, Follow my advice and lie down as though dead. Then they will throw over the hedge, and thou will be able to escape. When the owner of the melon patch and his friend came and saw how much damage had been done, they were very angry. But they could only find a dead jackal on which to wreak their vengeance. Ah, the greedy beast, they said. He has eaten till he has burst. Throw him into the road, which they did, and saw to their disgust my Lord Jackal jump up and very much alive and run away. This same Jackal admired a goat very much, or rather her earnings. Daily he came to her and said, I am hungry. If thou do not feed me, I will eat one of thy kids. And the poor goat toiled much and spent all her substance in order to save her children. At last, in despair, she consulted her friends, and they advised her to seek the aid of a greyhound. Accordingly, the greyhound was concealed under a big sulah, basket. So Moorish word for basket, sulah. And near it the goat laid a sumptuous meal. She then hid away her kids, and when the Jackal came, she said, See, my lord, the breakfast waiting for thee. Then while the Jackal was eating, out sprang the greyhound, and there was a terrific fight, in which the Jackal got completely worsted. Thus was the goat freed from his opportunities of tyranny. Hearken to the tale of the Humsia, the little pea. One day a woman looking out of her window saw a man with a basket of peas, a sulah of peas. O man, she said, sell me of thy peas. And he gave her one. She roasted it and cracked it, and behold, it was a little son. No bigger than a pea was he. And she loved him dearly. One day a mouse caught the pea in its mouth and carried him to its hole. O mouse, cried the pea, I am a person. And the mouse cherished him and kept him in the hole, and daily stole food. for his nourishment. One day the pea that was a boy was playing, and behold, he fell into a river. His mother was bending over the river, washing and mourning for her little one. When she heard his voice, "Mother, here I am in the river." So she dived for him and brought him home and kept him well, so that he grew old, but not a whit larger, and finally married the Sultan's daughter. This is the tale of the Humsia. Thou knowest the big rock beyond Spartel Signal Station, that is all crowned with prickly pear plants. Now she stands laved to her middle by the sea, but in former days she stood far inland, with an entrance into her innermost recess facing toward the ocean. Those were the days when the town of which the ruins lie, scattered all about the plain of Medina, was inhabited by a great people, the Sus perhaps. I know not, for it is long, long since, and I tell the tale as my father told me. Well, at this time of which I speak, there were two men who were forever prying and seeking about this rock. They dug about her, and they climbed over her and around her, and as far inside her as they could, and they found not. So were they greatly grieved. One day, as they were puzzling their brains as to how they might get the treasure, the one said to the other, "Behold, let us get the aid of the goat herd yonder. He it is who is called lucky, for when he seeks a thing, he invariably finds it." And the other man agreed. So they called to them the little lad and spoke to him in this wise: "See, little brother, we wish there to enter this rock and to see if any treasure be hid there. And for pay thou shalt have all that thou findest, be it gold or be it silver or jewels or flocks or garments, save only if thou findest a little coal case, and also one another such article, the name of which he who related this tale to my father had forgotten. These shall belong to us. And we have read much on the subject, and we find that no harm will come to thee from this search, but rather much profit. So if thou meetest Janoon or fearsome beasts, be not afraid, for they shall do nothing to thee. It is written that thou shalt meet perhaps a jinn like a roaring camel. If thou doest, be not afraid, or thou mayest meet one like unto a donkey. Shrink not from him. It is written also that one will come to thee bearing the face of a hideous negress, with horrid locks hanging over her cheeks, and her body also as far as the waist. She will not hurt thee. Seek only for the treasure, and it shall all be thine. Only the little coal case and the other little article, these shall be ours, a recompense for us, who have shown thee how to gain the treasure and the herd." He whom men called the lucky listened to all these words and said, "Yes, and I will do even as ye desire." And so he entered into the rock by the entrance of which I spoke. And all befell even as the two men had told him. He met the Janoon, the roaring camel, and the fierce ass, and the gruesome negress. And though his heart and his limbs trembled, yet passed he them with a bold face, and no harm or hurt befell them. But treasure found he none, only the two little silver articles, the coal case and the other. And he said in his heart, "Why are these men so anxious to possess these two things, that in order to have them they gave up all right to anything else I might have found? Surely they must be very precious. I must discover the reason of this thing." So he hid the two little silver objects in his plait of hair, and returning told the men, "All things I did as ye bade me, but in vain, I found not." And thou they questioned him very strictly, and searched him. He persisted in his words. Then were the men grieved and very disappointed, and said, "There must be something necessary to do which we did not read. Let us search again all the writings to see what it is." And they returned to their own place. And the herd, he whom men called the lucky, went with his goats and his dogs to the grassy plain to pursue his calling. Then when he was all alone, he drew from his plait the two articles. The one was but a little silver case, such as women use, filled with black coal, in which they darken their eyes. And the other article I cannot describe to thee, for he who related the tale had forgotten what it was. Only he said it was silver, and also a use for the toilet of women. Then said the boy, "Truly this is a marvelous thing that these two men should so desire this coal case." I must try what use it has. And so he called his dog to him, and with great care and trembling darkened he her eyes. Then a wonder, the dog became so mad and ran violently to and fro first, and then away inland. And the boy after her in great wonderment and with perturbed spirit. And the dog ran many miles till she came to a certain spot. And there she commenced to dig with her little paws. And the lucky herd watched her, and the dog dug, and lo, a great treasure, gold and silver. Dig, and you find your treasure, and precious stones. And the lucky herd said, Ha ha, truly this is good coal. And he took the treasure and carried it home. He then said I too will try this coal. So he blackened his eyes also, and immediately he too, like the dog, was seized with the madness of running. And he ran to another spot, and there he dug and found yet another treasure greater than the first. Then did that herd, whom all men called with justice the lucky, from time to time rub his eyes with the great magic coal, and each time the madness seized him, and he ran first, and then dug, and every time he found treasure. And thus he amassed much wealth, and bought lands and towns and wives and desirable things of all kinds, and became a most mighty sultan. And the only thing in this tale that vexes my spirit is that he who related the matter to my father should have forgotten the name and magical powers of the other little silver object, so that I am unable to tell you what befell the herd on using it. But doubtless it also gained for him much wealth and power, for did not all men call him the lucky? Certain portions of the Quran are most holy, if written, and the writing is worn. No harm by blow or weapon can come to the wearer, save and only when a gold, silver, or steel bullet is used. Silver bullet. And what is a wonder is that Jews are able to write out such amulets so that they may hold good the evil ones, to know if such a writing be blessed and able to keep thee from harm. When it is written, bind it on the back of some animal, a dog or a cat. Then fire at it with a sure aim. Should the animal fall, then there is no virtue in it. But shall the beast escape unhurt, then keep the amulet as the apple of thine eye. If thou be wise, take the Jew who wrote out the charm for thee as speedily as may be to some sure place, and then cut his throat. Said, cut his throat. For if he be left, he is able to remove the sacred words, and will replace them by some devilish incantation. Wow. So that thou, trusting, will die a speedy and horrible death. Behold, the moon rising. I will fire at her, says a Riffian. Ah, Yah. It is my brother's bald head, and I have killed him. So are all Riffians. Once in the days of one of our sultans, who is now dead, may Allah give rest unto his soul, a soldier, Mahazni, arrived at a little village built beneath the hill, whereon is the Kuba of Sibu Nuor, who had come on the Sultan's business to Sahur, and was well received by the villagers. But when evening and supper time came, behold, there was no food. The poor people had barely enough for themselves, and told the strangers that he must perforce go hungry. But the Mahazni objected most strongly. Look at that chicken, he said. Surely you can kill it for a starving guest. But the villagers cried out in alarm that it was the saint's chicken, and therefore sacred. But the soldier persisted, and at last in despair they said, well, kill it yourself, and on your head be the blame. So the Mahazni killed the bird and roasted it, and having eat it, his fill went to sleep. Now listen to my tale. When the dawn commenced to break, when all cocks crow, behold, the cock of Sidi Bou Noor crew also from within the stomach of the soldier, and the soldier was exceedingly frightened. Cockle-doodle-doo, motherfucker. In his stomach, though. He crowed in his stomach, brothers, and thus it happened at the regular intervals during the 24 hours, when the time came for his brethren to crow. The cock of Sidi Boo Noor answered from within that Arab, and the Mahazni, having finished his errand, returned with sorrow and great fear to his master's camp. When the Sultan heard of this marvelous tale, he called the man and made him stand before him and tell him all that he had befallen. And even as the soldier spoke, the cock crowed, so that the Sultan himself heard him. Then said the Sultan, "Strike my tents and ward my mules. I will go myself to the tomb of Sibu and look into the matter." And all was done as our Lord commanded. Then came the Sultan to the little hill on which stands the tomb of the saint, and he ordered his people to raise the Kuba to the ground. And when this was done, break open the tomb, he said. This also was done, and the white crumbling bones of the saint exposed to the air. Then the Sultan caused them to be placed on the ground before him, and began to upbraid them as though the holy man himself stood there. Are you witnessing how the Arab and the Sultan is acting? They ate the chicken of the saint, now they're going to the tomb of the saint, bringing out his bones. "Behold," said his majesty, "thou hast done a shameful thing. Thou hast begrudged a poor man and a stranger food. Moreover, thou knewest he was a messenger from me. If I had sent an army, thou mightest have had reason, but one man. And when in desperation he slew thy bird, thou broughtest this punishment on him. This was not right, what thou hast done, O Sidi Boo Noor." And all the people trembled at the Sultan's boldness and looked to see him struck in some marvelous manner by the insulted saint. But not happened. The Sultan caused them to be put back in their resting place and have their Kuba rebuilt over them. But Sidi Boo Noor must have heard and owned the justice of the Sultan's words, for from that moment the cock crew no more from within the Mahazni's stomach. If an ignorant man sin, the Almighty will be lenient to him. His punishment is on earth and from the hand of man. But if a Talib, which is known as the studied one, which is what Taliban is, but it's Ali with a T and a B at the end. But if a Talib, one instructed in all the holy writings of our sacred book, err, he goes to his doom open-eyed. Touch him not, O ye his brother, for the Lord himself will repay, and bitter indeed will be the reward. And I close by saying, aligning with this last maxim, justice is Allah's alone. And as I read this about the crowing, it is almost 6 a.m. in the morning, and outside they are crowing. And I'll go outside and let you hear that. It is freezing in the temple. You hear him crowing? It's crazy. I leave you in love and peace. Divine honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish divine and national movement of the world.